she was taught how to cheat by the Democrat Party in Detroit. She's a 60-year-old woman, and it bothered her conscience so much she went to her priest, and that's when she came forward and said they're teaching people how to cheat in Detroit, and they're actually filling out ballots for Biden for them. I have videotape of 20, 30,000 votes being counted illegally, enough to change the election in another state. I have 30 witnesses that would testify to being excluded from looking at ballots in Pennsylvania, which is in violation of the law of Pennsylvania. Before you can say I was acting improperly, you got to listen to these witnesses. What am I supposed to do as a lawyer? I'm supposed to say they're all lying?
So you're saying they did this only based on things that you said that were based on what other people said? They said you lied about a lot of things.
Well, how can they say I lied if they haven't had a hearing? Tell me what they're basing it on. They haven't had a hearing, haven't questioned me, they haven't questioned a witness. They're basing it on the New York Times, the Washington Post, CNN, MSNBC.
If you had a chance to testify, what would you have said? Other than
what I would do is I'd come into court and I'd wheel in about 2,000 documents and say, okay, let me call my 40 witnesses. Now let's see if I'm lying. Let's see if I'm lying about the two people who saw ballots come in the middle of the night in Michigan. About 100,000. Turned out almost every one of them was for Biden. Or how about in Pennsylvania when they counted 500,000 votes, 99.9% for Biden and about 4 votes for Trump.
You still believe the election was a fraud?
What I'm telling you is, let's get beyond that. If you want to say I said something irresponsible, you got to give me a chance to defend myself. I can more than defend myself. I can show that everything I said is based on a witness. They have never bothered to check that. All they did is take the word of hearsay evidence from newspapers. Courts are not supposed to decide based on newspapers unless they're Democrats in a Democrat city in which they are suffering from a real illness right now. I mean, it's only Trump lawyers who have their offices raided. It's only Trump lawyers who get penalized without anybody hearing their side of the case.
You've lived your life as a lawyer.
I sure have.
As a prosecutor. How do you feel personally now?
I feel personally worried for the country. I've been a lawyer for 50 years. I've never had a complaint. I've never had a problem. I believe that this is the real problem here is somebody's got to fix this double standard justice system, which is not America anymore. I mean, I might as well be in Iran or East Germany before the change. This is a one-sided decision, not based on evidence, based on newspapers. I haven't called a single witness. I can call 100 witnesses to support what I'm saying, and I'm ready to do it. I've practiced law for 50 years. I've put some of the most dangerous people in the world in jail, and I've been in some of the most difficult situations. My life has been threatened more often than I can possibly tell you. If they think I'm going to violate the law after having almost been killed by the mafia, the FARC, the Islamic terrorists, they're out of their minds.
What do you do now?
They're a bunch of prejudiced Democrats who credit newspapers instead of witnesses. That's not a judge.
What do you do now, having lost your life?
I fight back. That's what I do.
Yeah, how do you do that, Rudy?
I go to court, and I prove what I'm telling you in court. There are appellate courts. This isn't yet a dictatorship completely. It's getting there. I wish I was in a different state. I wish I was in a state that wasn't controlled by one party. I wish I was in a city that wasn't controlled by one party. I saw what they did to the judiciary in Philadelphia, where they own it. But we can eventually get to the Supreme Court if we have to.
Now, in addition,
what they did should be a problem for them. They should be being investigated.
And you're also under investigation. Prosecutors looking at your relationship.
I'm under investigation for anything they can find. This is an investigation in search of a crime. I don't know. They could look at your whole life. They don't even know what they're investigating. They keep changing. Let's see if we can find out if Giuliani did something wrong. Gee, maybe he didn't pay a parking ticket 20 years ago. Or maybe he made a mistake on his tax returns 12 years ago. They haven't even have an allegation that he committed a crime. They are searching to try and do. That's not American. That's what they do in dictatorships. You go after a person and you try to make a case on it. In America, here's the way we do it. And I did it better than anybody. There's an allegation of a crime first. and then you investigate that allegation of a crime. That is what protects us against government persecution.
Are you still in touch with Mr. Trump? And if so, when was the last time you spoke with him?
I don't discuss my conversations with my clients. In fact, what they did several months ago is a blatant violation of attorney-client privilege.
You're referring to the raid on your home and office?
Yeah, I mean, what? Have you ever heard of any other lawyers' offices being raided except Donald Trump's lawyers' offices? And by the way, I have other clients whose rights they trample on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, sir. Can I get this off? What are you going to do now? Sorry.
Let me feed it.
Me, it is an affair, so.